Before we step into the inevitable Three Hopes and Summer banners, we have this year's Bridal Blossoms banner. We got some characters from Binding Blade, including Cecilia, Sophia, Lilina, and Harmonic Roy with his dad Eliwood. Today we'll be talking about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss playstyles and build ideas. First up is Bridal Cecilia, who is our 4-star focus unit. You can get her at 4-star and 5-star rarity. As a unit, Bridal Cecilia is a red mage cav this time, and for stats, she has 40 HP, 41 attack, 25 speed, 18 defense, and 38 res. Very high attack and res stats, terrible defense, and below average speed. Basic Grand Hero Battle red mage material, aka similar to Arete, although Cecilia will have 3 super boons in attack, res, and speed as well. If you wanted to stack speed, you'll get a +1 bonus for your troubles. Overall, nothing super surprising, especially for red mages. For old skills, Cecilia does come with attack and res ruse with rally attack and res plus to activate it. She also has rouse attack and res, which is a bit odd if you're going to be next to an ally to rally them. For her inheritable red tome, Cecilia has the Bridal Orchid plus. It has 12 might, and at start of combat, if unit has more than 25% HP, they get +5 attack and res, and bonus to attack and res during combat equal to the current bonus on units' attack and res stats. Calculate each stat independently. So, Bridal Orchid is a very basic weapon. Essentially, you get bonus doubler, but only for attack and res stats, and that's on top of the +5. If Ross attack and res gives Cecilia +6 attack and res field buffs, she can get +11 attack and res relatively easily. This isn't bad, but if your field buff gets neutralized, then no more bonus doubler. Not super exciting, but very easy to use. Another attack and res focused heritable red tome to add to the pile. Overall, Bridal Cecilia is gonna struggle against anything not a major healer. She can stack a ton of attack and res very easily with Bridal Orchid, but that's about it. Distant counter is everywhere, and damage reduction takes the win out of one-shot type playstyles. Not to mention, mages don't have a damage reduction nullification special. Even if they did, mage cams only have Heavy Blade as their special cooldown option, so it's gonna be tough to even get to a normal Icebreaker Glacius proc to utilize Cecilia's res stat. In regards to her base kit, Rouse attack and res does proc Bridal Orchid, and altogether you're looking at +17 attack and res total. The only issue is that if you go to rally a teammate to proc the Ruse B skill, then Cecilia may not be solo to proc Rouse's buffs. It's a bit awkward if you aren't paying attention, or if you don't have other attack and res buffers. With only 25 base speed, unless you stack a ton of speed skills, Cecilia will need quicker post to double. You can use low attack and res in the B slot to go quicker post, but that's about the only setup these slow cavaliers have. You can use Contour for far trace, but again with only one hit, you can't always guarantee a KO, and distant counter is all over the place, which means low survivability against anything physical. If you want some defensive power, you could try the red Vulture Tome with attack and res menace. There's also attack smoke 4 now, but you have to survive the initial fight. If you wanted other debuffing options, there are Sabotage Employees, plus the new Stillwater A scale to use them better. Mystic Boost is good as well if you want to fight dragons. At the end of the day, Bridal Cecilia is in the exact same place as Summer Mercedes almost a year ago. We've gotten no new skills for cavaliers with slow speed stats, and the inheritable red tomes have all been not super amazing outside the recent Vulture Tome. Cecilia may have the stat spread of someone like Legendary Lilina, but Lilina's unique skills just let her be a more functional attacker. In fact, we'll reiterate why later in this video. Next up is Bridal Sophia, who will be sharing the red color with Cecilia. Sophia will be a red mage flyer, and for stats she has 30 HP, 40 attack, 19 speed, 36 defense, and 34 res. Some similarities to our last unit, but Sophia has a whopping 36 defense and has attack and defense super boons. While not super high overall in the game, 36 defense is good enough to be highest in the entire red mage class, and Sophia beats the next highest defense for a red mage flyer by 16. That is pretty crazy, and she also has decent res on top. Her speed is very low, but she has some ways to get around that, and in general, Bridal Sophia is actually quite unique for a flying red mage. For skills, Sophia has Rally Defense Res Plus and Attack and Defense Push 4. You can already see she's stacking more defense. Unlike Cecilia, Sophia will have a unique weapon, the Dragon Bouquet Tome. It has 14 might, but adds another +3 attack, bringing Sophia up to a very healthy 57 attack total. At start of combat, if she has more than 25% HP, grant +5 to all stats, grants weapon triangle advantage against colorless foes, and Sophia makes a free follow-up attack. Well dang, another relatively simple weapon, but Sophia has some very useful perks that inheritable red tomes just can't compete with. Most important is the free follow-up, which actually lets Sophia be a damage threat if left unchecked. She then gets more stats to improve her defensive bulk, and even has the Raven Tome effect to fight colorless units better. That's pretty great and mirrors her original form. The issue is that colorless archers still get extra damage as Sophia is a flyer, but besides that, never hurts to have weapon triangle advantage against the usually consistent colorless units. Surprisingly, Dragon Pit actually gives +5 speed while Sophia has terrible base speed. This might matter as Sophia could outspeed super slow tanks and cancel follow prevention with her free follow. and a little bit of speed doesn't hurt to have. For inheritable passives, Sophia brings attack and res hold to the game, inflict -4 attack and res on foes within 3 spaces at all times. Basically, hold C skills are sort of a tier 4 rain, but they only increase the range of the debuff instead of making them stronger. For personal combat, it's the exact same as attack and res rain, but if you want to overlay in combat debuffs for teammates, the hold C skills are better. So we have a big contrast with Bridal Cecilia. Despite both units being super slow calves or flyers, both of these class types just get no new skills to utilize, but Sophia's unique Dragon Bouquet makes her a bit more interesting. The free follow-up attack makes her an actual player phase threat, which means Sophia could actually get a kill, then conto away with Far Trace. Sophia can also stack -7 attack and res with Far Trace and Hold, which only boosts her defensive power further, and unlike Cecilia, Sophia has some actual defense to take a hit or two. She even has attack and defense push 4, although I do not like push skills with HP reliant weapons. I would recommend using catch 4 or solo skills if you can get them. I'll also throw in a mention for Triangle Depth just because of the Raven Tome effect, but that's for very specific matchups. It could maybe later tank an arrow though. Not shown here, but always available are the flyer mobility skills. You could pair those with Bond or Form Sacred Seals if you want to run a tight-knit formation. Sophia isn't going to need a quicker post to be some enemy phase unit. An interesting combo could be Impact A skills plus the new Attack Smoke 4. You could get follow-up denial for the player phase via the Impact A skill, and then you also get it for the enemy phase once Attack Smoke 4 kicks in. Sophia also gets a ton of buffs and debuffs. Could be a potential mixed phase breaker type build, although obviously no follow-up's going to counter that. It's also tough to abandon the consistent rain / hold C skills on flyers. If you do want to try Attack Smoke 4, you could get it with Attack and Defense Catch 4 thanks to Fallen Gustav, who is still available. Overall, Bridal Sophia has a lot more to work with as a slower mage thanks to her weapon. There's not a wide variety of skills for this class type, but unlike Cecilia, Sophia gets access to those rains and impact skills. She's a much better user of Far Trace, and while not stacking as much res, Sophia has an actual defense stat to play around. She may not have damage reduction like Atri, but I do think Bridal Sophia is a very neat and unique unit. Very little comparisons for red mage flyers. Our third unit is Bridal Lilina, and I mentioned we would talk about Legendary Lilina again because Bridal Lilina is basically just a blue version of her. She is a blue mage cav with 39 HP, 44 attack, 22 speed, 16 defense, and 42 res. Lilina is making the Reinhardt very proud by proving magic is indeed everything. 44 base attack is the new record for any mage, topping Spring Delthea just a few months ago. 42 res is also extremely high, and Lilina has a res super boon. Like Cecilia, Lilina has terrible speed and defense. Let's see how she gets around it. For ult skills, yes, Bridal Lilina gets her legendary ults, Gifted Magic Special, 2 cooldown AoE special with the plus pattern like Blazing Wind. However, it only deals 80% of the value of Lilina's attack minus the foe's res. Don't get it wrong, 80% is still gonna hurt. Now, for the skill Legendary Lilina wish she came with, there is Attack and Res for Trace 3. As a bonus, you also have Joint Distant Guard making its second appearance since Legendary Micaiah. For her weapon, True Love Roses, it's almost exactly like Studied 4 Blaze. It excites specials, putting gifted magic on one cooldown all the time, and it pre-charges it on turn 1. Then, if Lilina initiates or is within 2 spaces of an ally, she gets plus 6 attack and res during combat and deals bonus true damage equal to 10% of her res stat per hit. So instead of Hardy Bearing, Bridal Lilina just gets more damage. Hardy Bearing is great, but if you do not face Vantage, it's useless. You're probably not gonna miss it until, well, you get Vantaged. Regardless, 10% of Lilina's res stat gets added to her attacks, and I believe it should apply to the AoE special as well. It's not a huge increase since 42 res or 48 res in combat only adds plus 4 damage, but you apply that twice for 8 extra damage. You'll take that when you're going for a one-shot KO style like Lilina. Now, Bridal Lilina actually boosts her attack and res further with a new A skill line called Stillwater 4. It grants a flat plus 7 attack and res and inflicts -5 defense. Basically a flat stat booster like Life and Death, but tailored toward attack and res instead of speed. Legendary Lilina would run Life and Death just for the flat attack boost because flat attack is what matters for AoE specials. However, the res penalty would hurt True Love Roses, so Bridal Lilina gets a new skill to solve that issue. Her defense is terrible already, we're not fixing that, but retaining her very high res stat is a great upside since generally speed isn't a big factor for her. Stillwater can also benefit other flat attack and res stacking units like Sabotage or Ploy users or maybe a Tamari plus Dagger user. Not everyone's gonna like it though, like Duma who would love the flat attack, but obviously he doesn't want to lower his defense. In terms of playstyles, Bridal Lilina does the exact same thing as her legendary ult, just already ready to roll with Fortress Kanto. She pre-charges Gifted Magic on turn 1, Lilina then proceeds to initiate with a crap ton of attack for the AoE special. She then makes a basic attack, simulating a follow-up double, and hopefully the enemy is gone. That basic attack also recharges Gifted Magic for the next encounter. You can then Kanto away. Lilina isn't going to double naturally during combat, but she gets 2 hits in a row with Gifted Magic, and unless the enemy has Vantage, you do not need Hardy Bearing like Steady Forward Blaze has. True Love Roses adds that little bit of extra damage, and with Stillwater 4, a base Lilina is going to hit 49 res. You could use Dragon Flowers or Field Boss to get 50 res, which would net you +1 bonus true damage for Gifted Magic. It's not a huge increase, but hey, damage is damage. To hit the next damage increase, you're going to have to reach 60, 70, or 80 res, so don't go too crazy focusing on res stacking. More attack is always better. With that said, do we still run Life and Death as a Sacred Seal? It still hits Lilina with -5 res, but that's only going to cost you maybe 1 damage, while giving a flat +5 attack. Fury 3 is the other option here, which grants +3 attack, but also grants +3 res. Honestly, it's a toss-up depending on where the res breakpoint is for your level of investment. Life and Death lowers your res for all future fights, and Lilina can function as a mage check. Fury could maybe help tank 1 physical hit if you have a ton of defense buffs going, but you got recoil to deal with afterwards. Now, besides your Sacred Seal choice, the only thing I would replace is Joint Distant Guard. It's fine to keep, but you can instead run something like Pulse Smoke or maybe Attack Smoke 4 to debuff enemies after you blow someone up with Gifted Magic. You could also replace Fortress with low attack and res, which would help disable res field boss, but generally I think Kanto is just too fun with Lilina's playstyle. Abuse her high damage and range, then you get out if possible. Overall, not a whole lot to say other than if you like Legendary Lilina, here's a blue version. Just watch out for the good old sneaky Vantage. Last up for today is Harmonic Roy and Eliwood. Now their title is the Blazing Bachelors because Roy is paired up with his dad from Blazing Blade, aka before Eliwood gets married. Might not be the best to get old Eliwood if you know what I mean. This time, Roy is going to be an Axe Cavalier with a nice stat spread of 39 HP, 38 attack, 42 speed, 30 defense, and 25 res. He only has a res super boon, which is a bit surprising, but don't worry, Roy will pile on the stats via his kit. In terms of Gen 6 Axe Cavaliers, Harmonic Roy will be the only speedy one so far. For old skills, Roy is going to have Luna as a special and Sturdy Surge for healing. He can combo Surge very well with his unique skills. Harmonic Roy is going to have a lot to cover, so let's start with Blazing Pole Arms. 16 Might Excite Specials, effective against Beast and Dragons, plus he gets Kanto 2. If Roy initiates combos within 2 spaces of an ally, he gets +5 to all stats, and he inflicts a penalty on all of the foe stats equal to 50% of the total bonuses on Roy. Max of -6 to all stats. So, Harmonic Roy has some shades of Brave Erica, which is good company to be in. Faster specials, Kanto 2, dual effectiveness is great with a general stat boost. Instead of damage reduction, Roy is going to pile on debuffs on the foe based on his field boss. You're only going to need 12 total field boss to inflict -6 to all stats on the foe. You can kind of think of this like bonus doubler, where you double down on field boss, but we just inflict debuffs instead. If you can hit the max debuffs, it's like Roy is going to have +11 stats on top of his actual field boss active. To get those 12 field boss, Roy has a new CC code called Faith in Humanity. Similar to Halloween and Legendary Grima, Roy gets a super buffed up version of his legendary ults, Human Virtue. Now at start of turn, if Roy is within 3 spaces of an ally who isn't a dragon or beast unit, Roy and that ally gets +6 attack and speed. This is 3 times the range from before, needing to be adjacent. Additionally, if 2 or more allies has total bonuses over 10, excluding Roy, he also gets Tempo, aka no guard and no special charge. This is an amazing upgrade from Human Virtue. Roy still hates dragons and beast allies, but for everyone else, it's a super easy attack and speed field buff, and guess what, +6 attack and speed gets Blazing Pole Arms fully active as well. On top of that, Faith in Humanity provides Tempo, which cavalry units cannot get, and that has no range condition. As long as 2 allies have over 10 field buffs, which they should, then easy bonus for Roy. Only major downside is you're discouraged from using Roy with dragons or beasts. Things continue to get crazy with their Harmonic skill, grant +6 defense and res, Resonant Shields, and Treachery for Roy and his allies from these same gains for 1 turn. Obviously this means Binding Blade or Blazing Blade units only. Resonant Shields is just +4 defense and res during combat, but it also grants fall prevention for 1 time per phase. This means Harmonic Roy and his allies can get effectively +10 defense and res, block a follow-up attack, and this new Treachery status. Treachery is very spicy. It grants bonus true damage equal to the total bonuses on the unit. This is basically the true damage version of the Blade Time effect, which only boosts attack. Treachery, like Dominance, grants true damage and a lot of it. With this Harmonic skill and Faith in Humanity, Roy gets full +6 field buffs. That's plus 24 Treachery damage per hit. What's more hilarious is that you should be able to stack this with Dominance, and Dual Makai provides Dominance for any ally. You can take this further with an actual Blade Tome or Blizzard type weapon, and well, you got a ton of damage per hit, and a lot of that damage is true damage as well. Throw this on a Brave Weapon user and they could be hitting 48 true damage per hit if they have +6 field buffs and the foe has -6 debuffs on all stats. There will for sure be some very fun meme setups happening with Treachery and Dominance together. Last new skill is Flow Force 3, an inheritable B skill for Sword, Lance, and Axe Cavaliers and Flyers. Like the other Flow B skills, you get offensive no follow-up if you initiate combat, and Flow Force neutralizes attack and speed debuffs, which is nice. Personally, I still think Flow Guard is the generally safer / best option, but Harmonic Roy already gets no special charge via Faith in Humanity. It's not Guard, but you're gonna stop an instant bonfire counterattack in most scenarios. Overall, as the star of the banner, Harmonic Roy and Eliwood are kitted out very well. You do not have to change anything, although Sturdy Surge could be changed to Surge Sparrow for full attack and speed offense. You may want that +10 defense though, because Roy doesn't have damage reduction, and I don't think you want to substitute in a speed smoke for this time. Basically, Harmonic Roy is going to be a very fun offensive unit though. He buffs himself and allies with +6 attack and speed. That's going to proc Blazing Palm's debuffs, and he's going to give him tempo. You then have offensive no fall via Flow Force. You have no special charge to prevent higher cooldown specials when you attack. If Roy gets hurt, he then procs Luna on his second hit, which is going to always happen with no guard, and Sturdy Surge then gives 50% max HP healing. Roy then gets the Kanto 2 away to retreat. This whole kit is very reminiscent of Brave Erica, but you got Brave Eliwood's Dragon and Beast effectiveness, and Roy is a little dependent on field buffs. If his field buffs get neutralized, you lose the debuffs and tempo. However, Roy also has his Harmonic skill in his back pocket, which grants more defensive power and Treachery. He can fully buff up for 24 Treachery damage per hit, so if he hits twice, that's 48 true damage. If you can use the Harmonic skill, Roy is quite scary. One of my favorite things to do with Brave Erica is to run Heavy Blade with a 4 cooldown special like Dragon Fang. You have excited specials and no guard to proc it if the enemy hits you back, and on 3 cooldown that's going to get you 70% max HP healing off of Sturdy Surge. You can also run 4 cooldown Gale Force with consistency thanks to no guard and Kanto. Otherwise, in Attack and Speed Sacred Seal is definitely the way to go. If you want to have fun as a generalist unit stacking a bunch of stats, Distant Counter is always available as well. In the end, Harmonic Roy is definitely going to be a great unit. He's probably not going to be as much of an enemy AI nightmare like Harmonic Catra from last year's Bridal banner, but Roy is certainly a top choice for a speedy X-Cav. If you can use Treachery, then there's some insane damage potential, just like with Dominance. In fact, you can use Harmonic Catra with Harmonic Roy thanks to Thea being from Binding Blade. You can mess around with Triangle Attack Treachery quad hits. That would be it for this Bridal banner breakdown. Out right now is the accompanying Tempest Trials, and you can earn yourself Bridal Larum as a reward unit. She's a free dancer, so do not miss out on getting her. Let me know your thoughts on everyone on the banner, and good luck on your summons. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.